Hello, this is the News Broadcast Daily, and following today's headlines.
President Truong Tan Sang pays Tet visit to the northernmost province of Ha Giang. Prime Minister Nguyen Tan Dung witnessed the signing of an engineering, procurement and construction contract for the Nghi Son Complex in Thanh Hoa province. On January 27th, 40 years ago, the Paris Agreement was signed, a milestone in Vietnam's history.
President Truong Tan Sang paid a Tet visit to authorities and people in the northernmost province of Ha Giang while inspecting the building of new rural areas in some districts there. We have more.
Addressing authorities and people in Ba Quang district, President Sang stressed building a new-style rural area must be coupled with eliminating poverty, heightening people's supervision and mastery role, and promoting production. He asserted the building of new-style rural areas is a big policy of the party and the state. The program had once done but failed to meet requirements, so efficient ways to make it productive are being sought. Ha Giang is piloting the growing of rubber plants on 1,000 hectares in Bang Lang Commune, Quang Binh district as part of its efforts to have ethnic minority people inhabited areas developed wealthily. On the occasion, President Sang presented 100 gift parcels, 100 blankets and 20 buffaloes to poor households and wished them a happy and warm new year.
Prime Minister Nguyen Tan Dung witnessed the signing of an engineering, procurement and construction contract for the Nghi Son Complex in central Thanh Hoa province on January 27th. He assured that the government will remove arising difficulties to have the Nghi Son Complex go as scheduled.
As a key national work, the Nghi Son Refinery and Petrochemical Complex has a total investment of nearly $9 billion. The Vietnamese government made the complex its strategic project that would help meet the country's increasing demand of petrochemical products due to its industrialization and modernization. Scheduled to begin operations in mid-2017, the complex is expected to refine 200,000 barrels of crude oil per day and 10 million tons of oil per annum. Addressing the event, Prime Minister Dung stressed that the EPC contract is the first step on a long, difficult road to get the complex operational. He asked for greater efforts and highly productive coordination from all concerned parties. Earlier, on January 26th, Dung had a working session with authorities of Thanh Hoa province. He requested the province to fully capitalize on its advantageous agricultural, forestry and animal husbandry production to assist more poor people. The percentage of poor households in the locality remains high, though it shrunk from 20.37% in 2011 to 17.3% by the end of 2012. Dung advised local authorities to renew investment attraction methods, encourage scientific and technological applications, and back household economy development. Thanh Hoa made a GDP growth rate of 10.3% in 2012 and expects a growth rate above 11% in 2013.
Vice President Nguyen Thị Doan hosted a meeting in Hanoi on January 26th with more than 50 donors to the National Fund for Vietnamese Children.
At the event, Suran, who is also chairwoman of the fund, praised businesses, organizations and individuals for their contributions to Vietnam's social welfare and the care of disadvantaged children. She said she hoped that the donors will continue to work with the party and state to implement meaningful and effective programs to protect and educate children. Since its establishment in 1992, the fund has raised more than 4 trillion dong, helping 28 million children in difficult circumstances and tens of thousands of children with disabilities. In 2012 alone, the fund raised more than 71 billion dong, helping nearly 1 million disadvantaged children. as many as 2,500 poor children were awarded scholarships, and thousands of children in difficult areas enjoyed the benefits of school building and water resource programs.
On January 26th, a group of officers from Navy Zone 4 aboard the ship Thanh Hoa landed at Phu Quỳ Island to deliver food and dead gifts.
The group presented gifts from the Thanh Hoa provincial authorities and Navy Zone 4 High Command. They wished the authorities, people and soldiers on Phu Quỳ Island a Happy New Year. The islander expressed their thanks for the gifts which support the residents and soldiers during the New Year festival. The group will continue its journey to Hòn Tre and Bình Ba Islands to bring their gifts to residents and soldiers on them. "40 years ago, on January 27th, the Paris Agreement that ended the war and restored peace in Vietnam was signed. That day and the agreement are milestones in Vietnam's history. We'll look at how it was done.
January 27, 1973, the Paris Agreement was signed between four sides: the Republic of Vietnam, the Democratic Republic of Vietnam, the Provisional Revolutionary Government of the Republic of South Vietnam, and the U.S. It called for an immediate ceasefire throughout Vietnam and the end of direct U.S. participation in the war.
The Paris Agreement is the pinnacle of Vietnamese diplomacy during its anti-US war and a historical milestone in the revolutionary diplomacy of Vietnam.
The signing marked the end of the country's longest and hardest diplomatic battle in the 20th century. A negotiator directly involved in the Paris conference, Madame Nguyễn Thị Bình, recalled that she was very nervous to take over the mission. She knew it was an extremely important and difficult task. Binh, who then became Vice President of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, said the hardest negotiation period of the agreement came at the end of 1972, when, to put pressure on the Vietnamese side, the U.S. bombed Hanoi and Haiphong for 12 days and nights. The success of the Paris Agreement was a victory on political, diplomatic, and military fronts. The Paris Conference took place from January 25, 1969 to January 27, 1973, with 202 open and 24 private meetings.
The rule of the Paris Agreement negotiations, which was to maintain independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity, has been an immutable rule in negotiations since then.
The agreement was a turning point in Vietnam's anti-US war, which culminated in the liberation of the South and reunification of the country in April 1975. It was also the culmination of international solidarity. The 40th anniversary of the signing of the agreement brought together 30 delegates from 14 countries and international organizations to Hanoi. They recalled the years they supported the Vietnamese negotiation delegations at the Paris Conference 4 decades ago.
I participated in anti-Vietnam war movements that spread to Venezuela and Latin America.
Ordinary Senator Helen Lục, president of the France-Vietnam Friendship Association, said the Paris Agreement was a great encouragement for peace and justice lovers around the world. There are lessons learned from the Paris Conference that are valuable today and will remain so in the future. To maintain our principles of independence, self-control, and to act for national interest, while keeping both feet on the ground to decide every step on the battlefield and the diplomatic front, be extremely consistent to our principles, goals, and strategy, but in a flexible way, combine national and international strength. At a ceremony to celebrate 40 years since the signing of the agreement, President Truong Tan Sang stressed that lessons imparted from the Paris Conference are invaluable for Vietnam to move towards international integration and increasing the country's position and power.
And that is the end of our news today. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.